While researching a theme for my next mythological painting, I came across this magnificent piece of ancient art. And I wondered, who is this majestic winged goddess? This elegant figure with angel-like wings seems to have been arisen from a modern fantasy epic, but not from an ancient artifact. The mysterious goddess immediately mesmerized me, and I decided to create a modern interpretation of her. Therefore, in this video, let me take you back into ancient times, to the mysterious and deeply spiritual Mesopotamia, where we can meet this enigmatic deity. Mesopotamia, also called the land of dew streams, was the rivers Euphrates and Tigris region and lies in today's Iraq, Kuwait, Syria and southeastern Turkey. The birthplace of significant inventions like the first human scripture, the cuneiform, was an empire consisting of many powerful city-states, like the legendary Babylon. Now we are in the city of Uruk, 1800 years BC, where the ancient Sumerians worshipped her mighty battle goddess, the Queens of Heavens, Ishtar. Ishtar was a fierce and proud goddess who always strove for more power than she was allotted. She stole the divine decrees called Me from the other gods that each represent an aspect of human civilization like truth, art or wisdom, to bring power to herself and her city Uruk, which she was a patron of. Now, to create a modern interpretation of this beautiful goddess, I first had to recreate her attributes, starting with her magnificent crown. The four-horned crown is a common symbol of Sumerian deities and can be found in many ancient art depictions. It was inconceivably hard to find a reference for the crown, as such headdresses are not being made today. Eventually, I found a single horn, which I multiplied to create this unusual headpiece. I took the artistic liberty to reduce the crown down to only 2 horns, although only a minor deity would have worn this. But such a large crown would have just overwhelmed the composition. The rod and ring symbol that Ishtar holds in both of her hands can be interpreted as measuring tools, a coil of string and a yardstick, of a builder or an architect, interpreted as a perhaps divine measuring event influenced by Egyptian mythology. Instead of making her hold the rod and ring symbol in her hands, I added it as a necklace. In ancient times, it was not unusual to assimilate gods of other religions into your own, and Ishtar is a good example for that. As a result of merging 2 separate goddesses, Ishtar and Inanna, together, this powerful deity became the most venerated goddess in ancient Mesopotamia. The patron of love, beauty, war, and justice was worshipped in numerous temples by thousands of priestesses, elevating her above all gods. To highlight the exquisite beauty of this goddess, I decided to adorn the painting with lavish roses. They were the perfect addition to my painting, as the cultivation of the first roses began in ancient Persia and Babylon, where they grew in the gardens of magnificent palaces. The ancient Sumerians believed in the Underworld, also called the Netherworld, and in one story, Ishtar travels there to take over the power of her sister Ereshkigal, the queen of the Underworld. To represent this ominous realm, which was believed to be a dark, dreary cavern where life was only a shadowy version of the life on the surface, I painted the background in a midnight blue. The following story is quite macabre, so if you have a sensitive mind, just skip to the next chapter. According to legend, Ishtar prepares herself for the netherworld with 7 of the divine mess that gave her her powers. Among other things, she put on a particular garment, a lapis lazuli necklace, mascara, and carried with her a measuring rod. Prepared to enter the netherworld, Ishtar stands before the gates and demands to be let in. To reach her sister, she has to enter 7 gates, and upon passing each of them, she has to take off one mare after another, until she stands naked before her sister. She demands her sister to stand up from her throne, so she could take places with her. But the Anunnaki, the 7 demon-like judges of the underworld, were furious. Here's an excerpt from the ancient texts. They looked at her. It was the look of death. They spoke to her. It was the speech of anger. They shouted at her. It was a shout of heavy guilt. The afflicted woman was turned into a corpse, and the corpse was hung on a hook. Quite gruesome, right? Then, according to mythology, her confidant and second-in-command, Ninchubur, pleaded to the temples of the gods to help revive Ishtar, but all of them refused her bidding, declaring that Ishtar's fate is her own fault. Only the god Enki was deeply troubled, and he created 2 sexless beings from the dust under his fingernails that should travel to the underworld to revive Ishtar's body. They had to sprinkle her with the food and water of life to revive her corpse. Then they escorted her out of the underworld. But since Ishtar had entered the underworld once, there needed to be a replacement, and her sister sent out demons to drag someone else into the underworld. Upon discovering that her husband enjoyed himself with young slave girls while she was dead, Ishtar is very displeased with his behavior and tells the demons to drag him into the underworld instead. After a while, however, she had a change of heart, and her husband's sister, the goddess of agriculture and fertility, agrees to take places with her husband for half of the year, which resulted in the seasons, a common theme in ancient mythology. Therefore, each new year celebrated at the spring equinox, the Sumerians marked Ishtar's marriage with her husband, who ascended again from the underworld. Now back to the painting. As you can see, I work again on the roses, which I paint in a particular technique that I taught myself over the years. I start with an acrylic underpainting and finish with layers of singular brushstrokes that I apply with oil paint in a particular order and varying thickness to achieve a lavish yet soft look. I may say that my roses look all very tender and delicate because of it. Ishtar's most prominent symbols were the lion and the 8-pointed star, a symbol for the heavens and the association with her planet Venus. Therefore, I made sure to incorporate this important symbolism into my painting as well. I then added a 3rd layer to the portrait to make it look soft and vibrant, and I painted a few single rose petals to make the composition even more romantic. And they reminded me of the thousands of cherry blossoms that get blown through the air in springtime. Ancient art to me is so beautiful because after the eons, pigments break off it and leave a pattern which, through the process of decaying, making it even prettier than it might have been when it was polished and perfect. I like to add a bit of this character to my own art by creating abstract patterns with the paint spatula. And here you can see my version of Ishtar Inanna, the mighty goddess of the ancient Sumerians, who was worshipped by hundreds of thousands of people that lived 3,000 years ago. I gave this painting the title Queen of the Night, after the name the British Museum in London gave the relief after they purchased it, and where you can view this magnificent artifact still today. I hope you enjoyed this excursion into ancient Mesopotamia. If you'd like to see a comprehensive step-by-step tutorial about this painting, including the mixing guide, my reference photo and the sketch to print out, join me on Patreon and get access to hundreds of painting videos and lessons. A link to my Patreon page is in the video description. And please let me know how you liked the video and if you have any ideas for further mythological inspired paintings and videos. I have already prepared a couple of videos for you, so you can be excited about that, but I would also love to do something that you suggested. So if you have an ancient mythology or something historical, or maybe even a completely different theme, please let me know in the comment section. I'm very excited to hear your ideas. And yeah, as always, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you in the next one. Bye bye!